Today we're going to look on how to use HDRI in a physically based workflow. I just want to point it out that this comes from Fabian. He pointed me to this post that he did in January 2021 on how to use HDRI, especially from HDRI Heaven or Poly Heaven. So I'm basically going to follow this, but using a few more tools to make sure that we really nail it down. So what we need is this plugin for Photographer 4, so we can put the same settings that we have in our cameras from the HDRI. And I have this PNG version that is for free, but you can just name your price and give some money to the author. And the next thing we need is the HDRI that we're going to get from Poly Heaven. And the reason why is that we can download this color chart here. This color chart comes with a RAW file, EXR, and JPEG. We are going to use JPEG and RAW. So I'm downloading here the 8K version of the HDRI, but you can download the 4K or the 2K. It's up to you. So I'm going to open my Blender. I'm using the K-Cycles 1. First thing, let's set up our scene. Let's put render mode. I'm going to change to scene mode, otherwise it's going to use some HDRI from Blender instead of using these nodes here. These nodes come with the Photographer add-on when you add an HDRI from them. But you can just, it's going to be like this. You can just add an environment texture here and everything is good to go. So first thing, let's plug in our HDRI. Let's actually take out the transparency so we can see the HDRI. So camera here, film, transparency. And now we're going to import the PNG image. You can just import image as plain, but here I already created an object and put on my kit ops, so I can just click here and add my insert. So it's quite easy to do that every time that I need to run this. So let's use Photographer now to create a camera. Let's get close. Let's tick off the lock camera to view. And here we have our scene. Now we are going to try to match using the settings from the real world camera to our Blender scene here. So I'm going to open this RAW file that came with the zip of color chart that I downloaded, properties, and we come here, details. We have like f-stop, exposure time, and also ISO. So let's just come here and take here exposure, and let's put correct values here, and we can see that HDRI just became completely dark. That's because it's not accurate for this physically workflow. So what we are going to do is try to match this that we see here with a JPEG image. So I'm going to open here. I would say use this to match and not the environment, because the environment is not reliable. So look here and look here. We need to a lot. Let's put 7. You can just eyeball it in the beginning, and after we're going to open Photoshop to get really close. So for example, this is 7, and I can see that it's still a bit darker. So I played around and I came to the value of 10, which I think looks really close to what we need. And now we are going to make sure that everything is correct by opening here Photoshop. Let me close the JPEG. I'm going to use the RAW file, but you can still use the JPEG again. It doesn't matter, to be honest. Let's create new canvas here. Let's come here, put our RAW file. And we can also grab here our white balance, put here on Photographer add-on. And okay, then don't change anything related to lighting in your RAW program, otherwise you're going to mess up. And here we go. I'm gonna also change this to grayscale. Don't rasterize, discard everything. I'm changing to grayscale because then the eye picker is going just to show the black decay. And here we're going to take a print screen and we're going to paste it here. Grab the eyedropper 2 with I on PC. I don't know in Mac if it's the same thing. Here we have 93, here we have 95, here we have 87, here we have 88, here we have 78, here we also have 79 and 63 and 69. To be honest, this last three, we don't need to match the last three because the HDRI is going to basically just fill the shadows of our scene in Blender, and we still need to add a lamp or a sun, but always physically based, okay? Because now we are doing this kind of workflow with the HDRI. So we know that the exposure that we chose here, the 10, is working great. If it was not, we could just upgrade it or put it lower or put it higher. In our case, everything is correct, so we can close Photoshop. We come back here, let's add a sun lamp so you can see what is the difference now. We add the physical sun and we come here, use sun clear sky. This sun is also coming from photographer add-on, just in case you don't see it in your Blender. Let's just do something like this. And now we can see that the sun is actually just adding the highlights to our scene. And if we hide here with M, the HDRI, this is the sun, and this is with the HDRI. So now we can just play around with real life settings here. So we can match focus, depth of field, motion blur, and everything that comes with the correct settings. So that's basically it. Oh, one last thing that I like to do in my files. This is the EXR with the HDRI. I just put here 10 ST, which stands strength. And then whenever I'm here on Blender, I just pop it in the image and I know that it's 10 that I need to use here. All right, thanks for watching.